Hi folks, and welcome to the Filmonic channel, and I am at the Slöjd area at Marienhof-Hagen again. Check out their website, doing a great job for education for sustainable development and sustainability, and I've been working at a sculpture for the garden, made a willow man, and I hope that it will sprout again, and even though it is a bigger sculpture, normally you do this with little saplings, but I wanted to try it out. Maybe it works out, and then we got a willow man in the garden. What I also wanted to is show you a project in the future with making a little willow man from a sapling. And but I want to talk to you about a knife I announced already, and this is a knife I forged ages ago, and I will go full circle at the end and talk a little bit about sustainability. And picking up, because this is it. This is a knife that conveys meaning to me, and well, it's sort of a mythical knife, and it's a bit of a funny thing, and I think a lot of us knife nerds and knife nuts had a similar development. As a kid, I really dug those stories of magical swords and that magical knife or weapon, and I really I don't know if you remember the Catweasel series, and Catweasel had this Iskian, and I only learned later on that it is called an Iskian, and this magical knife, and this is the stuff I grew up around, and I really take this with a grain of salt, of course, but that's how it is. That's how I got involved with knife making and knife collecting and using knives for socially adequate purposes exclusively, and I strongly believe in that, as you know. But well, this is what got me started, and all the way all through my childhood, I was looking for the magical knife, and the one knife, and the knife with magical Excalibur properties. And actually, I studied at university. One of my many topics was the Histoire de Saint Graal, the stories around the Grail, and well, and this is something that is pretty interesting, because I know what the Grail is, not what you think. And maybe that's a topic for another story, for another video. But thing is, this also goes for the famous Excalibur, for instance, and well, this might not be very popular if I say this, but you need to keep in mind that I don't say this. I say this lovingly. It's not in order to bash the stories or debunk the myth or anything. I really love those stories, and I still read them and still love them. And also the adaptations, nothing wrong with that if they are halfway decent. And well, the set Excalibur most certainly derives from an earlier Excaliburnus or Caliburnus, also modernized as Caliburn, and it possibly goes back to a Proto-Celtic, Kaletobolgos, which isn't as safe to claim that this is, but possibly it is. And this might translate, and this is also not secure, that translation might translate to the heart bulging one. I leave it up to you what this might mean. And you might come to the same conclusion as, I think it was Turnison or who was it now? Damien McManus made something about that. And there also is something that is not mythical, and there is the theory. Also, it's just a theory. It's not. We don't know that Sat's Excalibur was made from ferrum noricum, and it was made from pieces of the Chiemgau meteor, and made with titanium and fullerene and what have you. Well, and if you would take this steel and smelt it and forge it and make a sword from this, there's a high possibility that compared to a modern steel like ATCRV2, it would be utter crap. This is something that few people forget, that steel was deemed mythical in these days, maybe the Hallstatt period or the Latin period of history. Well, because it had superior qualities, but you must ask yourself, superior to what? And there's an ongoing discussion whether or not early iron swords were actually better than bronze swords. And so the mythical steel may be, well, not that good after all. There is one steel, however, that was utilized well far later on in history, and this is the so-called Wootz or Pullard or crucible steel, crucible Damascus. This is the true Damascus steel. And there was an industrial version of it, and it was the industrial steel that was employed in Sheffield and in Germany, in Solingen, for most of the day, most of the time. The earliest examples may be, and it's you must be really careful with the dating, and you must be really careful with claiming that this is Wootz or something, are the crucible versions of the Ulfbecht sword variety. And these were actually made from smelted monosteel, and this is pretty intriguing. And these most certainly were forged in Frankish workshops around, well, 1800, 900, 1000 AD. and most certainly in monasteries. And so much for the mythical Viking, heathen, pagan, what have you, gift of Odin or what have you. And you keep hearing that all the time. I'm all, and as I said, I'm all for a great story, but mythology contains the words myth and logic. And if something is outright illogical, well, then it doesn't make sense, because logic is not something you do or you're not doing. It's a natural law applied to finding the truth. If something is illogical, well, it's not the way to getting to the truth. And this applies to mythology as well. Tolkien talked of something of an inner coherence of mythology, and this is something that even in a mythological setting, things within the system of the mythology are to make sense. It's not that the dragon has green eyes on one page and blue eyes on the other, and it isn't explained, and it's just a given. This ruins your reading experience. As for artificial mythology, but also for real mythology. So back to the steel. This crucible steel actually was widely used in Germany, and if any kind of steel has some mythical properties, this is it. Because back in the day, this was the ultimate of technology, and crucible steel was employed on an industrial scale, as I said. And please don't get me wrong, I am making a distinction between Woz, which is the true Damascus, the true crucible steel, crucible Damascus, and crucible steel, because it's made in a slightly different way. It has similar characteristics, and both show a distinct dendrite pattern. Now, as you well know, I live under a hill that is actually a special waste deponie and deposition site. It's a landfill, and that's pretty bad for the environment, and pretty great for any steel nerd, because you can find crucible steel ingots there. And also there's a real bonus, because in World War II and between the wars, there was a real shortage of raw materials in Germany, and people reverted to older techniques in order to be able to craft tools at all. So what you can also find are these little cakes of ingots that might be considered Woz cakes, and they are processed in a similar way. And turns out I did find one, or several actually. I still have some in, and I will show you in another video. I just forgot it today. And I actually, I can tell you, this was a learning curve involved, because it is really a bastard to work with, as it's nigh on impossible to forge if you don't know how to, because it needs a really long and arduous time of processing before you are able to forge it in the first. You need it to pound for, and that said ingot I processed was it was taking me several days of pounding with a wooden mallet, before it even started to move. And and this is what I made from it. This is a knife that was from the morphology. I was really intrigued by a knife by Petr Florianic, and I suggest you really need to go to his website, because he's far better than I will ever be, and he is absolutely creating fascinating stuff. And if you like my Monofos, and I'm pretty fascinated by his style, and I'm not copycatting him. And I really want you to go to his channel to see the real thing. It's just I'm creating these things for myself, and I'm not selling these because it would be a little bit unfair if I did and claimed it were my own idea. Well, it is my own idea, because you will see. This is a knife I call, if you can read that, these are runes in the Elder Futag. They read Ísentánd, which translates to iron tooth, because it is. It's mostly a knife I use for snacking, and it also has some talismanic properties for me. And the other side reads Ubilovari, which loosely translates from runic Germanic language, early High German. I fend off evil. Ubilo is pretty close to the English term evil, uvil. You see, there is a certain similarity, so this is interesting too. And there is something that should have turned out like a dragon head or something. This is and it is entirely forged, and you can already see a sort of a structure there, and this structure is in the steel. I really etched it really deep, and well, and there is this griffin figure, mythical animal there, maybe also a dragon, and there is this pattern there, which is well, a little bit of a little bit of a joke on my own behalf. I will relate to that on another knife I want to show you again. And if you look into the upper part of the blade, the other the lower part, I don't know if you can see this. A little bit difficult because it's getting dark, but you can see this dendrite pattern, because this is what it is. It is entirely made from crucible steel I found in the woods, and this is I really love the steel because it's it is really, it takes a real great and really fine edge. And you don't need a lot of effort to make really fine shavings. And by the way, this is hardwood that's frozen, and it simply sails through the wood. The edge bevel is convex to zero, as is almost customary for me, and actually at one point it really saved my sanity, because I was working in a really crappy job, and at that point it was still perfectly okay to carry a little utility knife like that, and I never carried it for self-defense or for causing violence, but primarily for opening boxes or snacking and stuff like that. And but you know, I had a really shitty coworker who was always mobbing me and was in really threatening me with what have you, and she was a really awful person, and it's not that that I wished her any ill, but she did, and she was always demeaning me and was keeping me down and talking behind my back and what have you. All that, a lot of you guys might be able to relate to that. And the thing is that what really kept my sanity was, well, this is something magical that was riding in my pocket. And when I was preparing my meal and at lunchtime or something, I was thinking, I wasn't thinking about what have you, but I was thinking, well, this magic did actually happen to me, and this is something, you know, this is the equivalent of someone finding the sword and the stone in the forest. And also the forest in itself conveys a lot of meaning to me. It's not just a place to visit in order to for holiday or for recreation or something. It's part of what I am. And you know, the name Fimmelmörk doesn't refer to me, even though it's stuck as a nickname. It refers to the forest. It refers to the violent twilight, because this is what it means, or mighty twilight. This is what it means. It means the forest. And the thing is, this didn't cause any harm. This is, it just was a myth in my pocket, and this myth kept me alive, kept me sane, and because I made this. I made something out of a story, which could have happened in a storybook. And I strongly believe that you know, we are born, then we live a little bit, and we love a little bit, and well, suddenly you're 52, an old fart, and death is peeking around the corner. And we need to make sense of it. And we don't, actually, we all want to live forever. And when you're young, you're not thinking about death a lot. You are. When I rode my mountain bike, I was always cautious. I was always careful and rather sensible. But on the other hand, I also did a lot of stuff where I could have died with just one mistake. And we wrote down stuff that's off limits nowadays, and we did that with 35 millimeters of suspension, not 35 centimeters of suspension as this one today. And this is really old fart talk, I know, and it's, I'm not proud of that, but we did. I can't put it any other way. As it's not that I wouldn't be able to write a rampage or something. That's not what I'm talking about. And I quit downhill racing before all the jumps came in and suspension came in and what have you. And so that's not bragging or demeaning the awesome achievements of the younger generation. I'm really grateful for the progression, but well, we didn't think about the stuff we did, and we could have easily have died. We wrote down trails, um, especially at Lake Gara, where well, that's it. That wasn't a trail, and it was just these were these old ramparts from World War I, and we rode through these towers and what have you. And you don't think a lot about death or something. It was a little bit different because, well, I saw my first 5 square meter corpse at the age of 6, and because we lived near a dam of a lake, and people jumped down the dam, and well, that's regularly on a regular basis, and so this is so maybe I thought a little bit more about death and life and what have you than normal kids did, but still you don't think about life and death too much. But well, you should not always think about death or something. But actually, we are in a story. We all are in a story. We are all in a myth, and you know, life is awesome for it, and it's not something you need to do artificially. It just happens naturally because life is amazing. It's an amazing ride, and at the moment I'm pretty well, I'm pretty screwed. There's no working my way around, and it has a lot to do with my reluctance to earn money properly, as other people do. But always believing in well, creating a little bit of sense in the world, and well, it doesn't work out, and that's all my fault really. It's nothing, no one else to blame, just me. And but on the other hand, life is still amazing because I'm out here at the Slate area, and hopefully there will come something from it. Actually, but forest is here, and I just saw a squirrel, and I listened to the birds and what have you, and then I was working on a sculpture and something. And stories happen all the time. There was one story over here, because this is also a guest house, and well, there were guests staying around here, and well, and you know, this the group, they were producing the barefoot parkour, which we also have, and well, and then they went for a hike, and there was this lady, and she was putting her shoes outside the corridor where the rooms are, and well, and there is this little stinky raccoon living over here somewhere, and we got him on camera. And little stinky raccoon went and stole the shoes and stole the hiking boots, and well, and thing is that little stinky raccoon put the lady was looking everywhere and couldn't find it, and what have you, and was turning everything upside down, and we were looking for it, and then she was like, well, and she was she had, I think she had some flip-flops, and then but she did walk around the area, and it was and she was going to the barefoot parkour, and little stinky raccoon put the hiking boots next to the barefoot parkour because, well, maybe just wanted to remind her not to forget her shoes, because maybe he thought, well, humans need shoes, and so, and why do they walk barefoot around through the forest, and why do they do this? And maybe they must hurt because they are not accustomed to to walking without boots, and so maybe he put the boots next to the barefoot parkour to be helpful or something. I don't know. I don't. I couldn't talk to him. And what I want to say is, stories like this happen all the time, and I don't know if it happened along these lines, and I don't know what little Stinky thought, but well, that's what I want to say. And that's the was this little mouse over here, and well, it was going down where I parked the car, and which is there is a highway in the valley, and I always, if I have a car, most of the time I'm going here by bike, and but if I need a lot of tools, it really sucks, because it's 20 kilometers to from where I live, and so and I'm an old fart, and back hurts sometimes, and with 40 kilograms on your back, that's not so great anymore. And well, and I was walking down to where I parked my car, and there's this little tunnel, and I got out of the tunnel, and there was this little mouse, and little mouse was really afraid and really frightened, and couldn't find a way, and I just backed away, I backed off, and then I was like, yeah, talk to her in a calming, hopefully calming voice, and didn't do anything, and made myself as small and unthreatening as possible. And she stopped, and she calmed down a little bit, and then she simply walked away. And before she disappeared in the underbrush, I don't know, she, little mouse, and just looked over its shoulders and went away. And then we were working in the garden, and we were creating willow TP, which is a really nice project, I find, for the kids to play in. And there was this little mouse, and it was coming to me, and I was trying to really be calm, and running straight at me, and I was well, I was wondering, and I was putting my finger out, and mouse did come over and booped my finger with a snoot, and looked at me, and went away. And stories like that, and I don't know if it was the same mouse or relative or what have you. It's not. What I want to say is, well, this knife is made from crap, but only if you can't see it. If you can't see the crucible steel within the lump of rusty iron, well, no mythical knife for you. And if you can't see the magic in this funny raccoon or the little mouse, no story for you. You could also be, even the employers over here and my colleagues, who are, by the way, really awesome. I like, well, that raccoon just stole the shoes. They don't think along these lines. They find that cute when I tell that to them, but they wouldn't enjoy the story for what it is. And you can enjoy a story for what it is. This is what I wanted to say. It's because the world is either a really crappy, a really cold and hard and harsh place to live in, really toxic, really evil, or you could look for the magic, and the magic is here, and you just need to see it. And you know, as I said in a video about Manifos, maybe I get it back to front. I'm not lying on purpose or something, but maybe, you know, maybe it didn't happen exactly that way. And I'm actually reflecting myself. I'm currently really working hard on my mental health, as we all need to at the moment, because, well, it's a shitty place. The world has become a really shitty place. But you can enjoy a story as is. If someone begs to differ, well, fire away. The quality of my life is enhanced by thinking, well, maybe, not that's not a given. I don't know. But maybe little stinky raccoon thought along the lines of, well, put the shoes at the barefoot parkour in order for the poor lady not having to walk barefoot to the woods. Because little stinky raccoon thought, well, or maybe the mouse wasn't a relative or just came over, and maybe it got rabies. Don't know. And I just was really lucky not to infect myself, which I don't believe, by the way. And the thing is, even so, even if everything I told you were utter crap and absolute nonsense and what have you, you still get something like, well, that little blackbird flying around here and singing, and that squirrel over, and the raccoon actually does live here, and the little mouse does live here, and this is you can enjoy the simple fact too. It doesn't need a story, and there are also other stories that are really grave and really sad. And there was a young roe deer who died in the thickets around the Sloat area. I was stinking like hell when I arrived, and we get the local hunter to dispose of it, and because we have to, we can't let it rest here, and we're not allowed to. And local hunter came and disposed of. For the Bureau of Forestry Commission came and disposed of it, by the way, because we really work closely with them. And that's a really grave and sad story too. And life is that way. And even so, life is also magical, and this is what I want to say. And the difference between this being a lump of iron rotting in the dirt for ages more, and a little bit of special waste less in the forest, and a little bit of magic more in my pocket, lies in looking closely and trying to see the magic in everyday life. And that said, I hope you could see the magic in this video. Well, just an old dude standing in a forest, getting really cold. And I think I will pour myself a cup of tea, and then I will be off into the weekend. I hope you enjoyed the video. I am really grateful for you guys being here and making it a friendly and cozy place. And actually, maybe you also have a story that makes you feel good, and the everyday sort, and maybe that little robin that comes around when you're working in the garden or something. It doesn't need to be anything special and with smoke and fire billowing all over the place, and Merdin himself appearing on your front porch. That's not necessary. It's not that. It needs to be a big thing. You need to, you need magic in your life, and magic often happens in the really, really tiny and little stories that are happening all the time. And in order to see that, we need to stop rushing a little bit. Yes, we all have to hassle and bustle and what have you. I'm in a pretty crappy situation because I refuse to. But we need to take time to see that little mouse and the little magic that's always happening. That's always around the corner, and the little stories, and maybe that's childish. And I know that a lot of really masculine people would make fun of me for relating stories like that, and maybe this would be really great if that would happen, that I could motivate you to see that little robin in the garden, because it really enhances the quality of your life. And it's a really great thing. There are pretty hard facts and pretty hard realities, and but don't forget that little robin in your garden is also a reality. That little stinky raccoon or the mouse or the squirrel or what have you, they are facts. They are not some make-believe fairy tale. And that knife in my pocket is also not. It's a pretty concrete thing. And in times gone by, this would have been a magical sorcery steel knife. And well, it has its shortcomings. It has. It certainly is not the best knife there is. That's not what I'm saying. But as I said, Excalibur nowadays would also be deemed pretty crap by all these experts out there who know a lot, and who know a lot of metallurgy, maybe even more than my mentors or something. And I will always give them that. That's not what I'm saying. But also is a little story in my pocket that enhances my resilience. And I hope for you that you also have things that can enhance your resilience every day. And often it's the really little things. So stay sane and healthy and enjoy the forest and its little stories. And the little stories doesn't need to be the next big thing. And sun is down, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you soon. Until then, take good care, and as I said, stay sane and healthy. Bye.